I'll be much obliged.
Much obliged.
He's the very man to oblige you.
You oblige me with 50 or so in gold.
If our crops fail, we shall be obliged to trade with them.
Martin, tu peux venir pour le souper, tu vas être reposé à l'hôtel.
The local ordinance obliges you to surrender all sidearms to the proper authorities for the duration of your visit.
If I knew I would stop it, I'd be obliged to stop it. But then I don't.
I'm obliged by management to tell all...
You will be, if you remain unobliging.
What if I was obliged to hurt you for something like this?
It falls. Truck stop there.
I'll be much obliged.
Sometimes you eat the bar and much obliged. Sometimes the bar, well...
Well, if it's a good opinion you're looking for, he's the very man to oblige you.
What Mr. Ponsonby...
By these drafts in my hand. Could you oblige me with 50 or so in gold just to settle my accounts at the dockside?
You must be careful not to offend the naturals. If our crops fail, we shall be obliged to trade with them. Once we're established here...
Tantôt, OK? Martin, tu peux venir pour le souper, tu vas être reposé à l'hôtel. Je comprends ça.
Au contraire, ça me fait plaisir.
Non, non, tu serais vrai.
Hey, gentlemen. The local ordinance obliges you to surrender all sidearms to the proper authorities for the duration of your visit.
Proper authority.
You're quite right, Whittaker. If I knew I would stop it, I'd be obliged to stop it. But then I don't know.
You know now, sir.
You're right. Room 223. I'm obliged by management to tell all city dwellers not to drink from our taps. But...
How you doing?
Much obliged.
What?
Am I considered the enemy?
You will be, if you remain unobliging. You'll appreciate the need for absolute discretion.
What if I was obliged to hurt you for something like this? I mean, physically.
You are a genius!
Much obliged.
Where do you get this idea?
I'm very much obliged to you, Mr. Carnahan, former gunnery sergeant in Her Majesty's.
For some reason I can't explain, I keep feeling obliged to apologize for this ugly room, for being less than you probably imagined me to be.
Hiding upstairs and asked where he was, you'd be obliged to tell him. And his perfect world, you know...
Pardon me, sir. I wonder if you could oblige me with a light.
Certainly.
Thank you.
I'll see you get the Romanian cross for this.
That's all right, sir.
Oh.
I'm only too willing to oblige.
About me.
Oblige him, Shelley. I'm ready for him.
No, if you knew that you were here with me, you don't know.
I'm obliged to remind you, sir, that I gave him permission to go out last night.
Did you give him permission to get falling down drunk?
Drunk, sir?
A defendant under the American system of justice is obliged to prove nothing. He can sit here mute and say not a word.
But like, try to keep my girl from going to a camp.
Tom.
So your old buddy Jessup obliged.
I knew absolutely nothing about this.
I have to...
I will require the assistance of 2 volunteers. Mr. Merritt, if you would oblige me.
Yeah. I will come over immediately. Monsieur Ballon, I wonder if you could oblige. I have to meet my assistant, and I am without a car.
Sorry, no. I just can't oblige.
But you don't know that my Brad's been sitting up with Lucy and my Laurie's...
I'd be obliged if you'd come to the point, ma'am.
It's just that I know that Martha'd want you to take care of her.
My dear Turner, I am obliged to inform you that your condition is grave. Your days...
Hosting his annual Christmas party this evening, and I'm afraid I'm more or less obliged to put in an appearance. I don't suppose you'd wish to come with me, would you?
Nora, were you obliged to dance 5 times with Captain Quinn?
I don't care a fig for Captain.
What the bloody hell does that mean?
means my nobility obliges me to recognize the virtue of an exceptional
Signed to this case originally, so I lack some of the facts. Would you oblige me by answering a few questions?
Well, what about?
Your engagement to this...
I'm obliged, Mr. Daniels, but I can find my own way out.
Probably. But I feel obliged to mention that setting up an explosive device in a space...
Oh, I got that one right there. Put that there. Much obliged, Mr. Triple-Banks. You give yourself a wonderful day.
Take care.
Yep.
Many things I want to ask you. Yes. So many things.
Well, anything you want to know, I'd only be too happy to oblige.
Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. I'm very much obliged.
Yes, sir.
Would you mind stepping in here for a minute?
Yes, Mr. Sheldrake.
There you are. Much obliged. Here's a breakdown of figures on...
There was no life jacket in my cabin, so I was obliged to find one for myself. I managed to locate one in this,
I was very impressed with your show.
Thank you. I'm just obliged for your high regard.
I have a problem.
Much obliged, thank you. How you feeling, John?
Merci.
I'd be much obliged if y'all could just mosey along. This here's a private conversation.
I swear to do. I'm annoyed with you for obliging me to do what I'm going to have to do.
At precisely the right moment, some trusted member of a museum staff has to obligingly switch off the alarm system.
Couldn't we bribe someone?
I don't do well on whiskey. If you'd pay for my copy, I'd be much obliged.
Drink! This is one time I'm glad she didn't. I'm much obliged, Joey.
I owed you something.
Cole?
Kirk, when Kirk visited South America. Noblesse oblige, sort of. But it soon became obvious.
After 20 years of battles, we are morally obliged to deal with him as a prisoner of war.
Oblige them!
I'm sure I can find my own way if you have other duties to perform.
Much obliged, sir. Thank you, sir.
Really was. If she does, you'd be obliged to lock her up for the rest of her life.